Stroke deep center field. Torres chasing and is gone, and the party is on in the Hub City. And he launches this one into the trays. Goodbye. And add to it. Straight to the roost. And whoever operates the horn has been standing on it.
Hey, Golden Eagle fans, I'm Southern Miss Stadium announcer Jackson Walker, and you're listening to Nasty Bunch and Beyond.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Nasty Bunch and Beyond. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. You can find me on X at Dalton_Trigg. You can find the pod account at Nasty Bunch Pod. Be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. If you don't mind leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, really helps us out. And then, of course, as I've been mentioning here on the last couple pods, you can go to www.si.com/college/Southern Miss to read all of our written work. So, if you listen to these podcasts, great. If written material is more your vibe, we have plenty of that. We cover football, basketball, baseball, all Southern Miss at www.si.com/college/Southern Miss. So that is Southern Miss Golden Eagles on SI. We're bringing you coverage of all the major sports there. So be sure to go check that out, and we greatly appreciate it. Okay, so y'all, we got to talk about this Alabama game that happened at the Pete on Tuesday night, because came on here not too long ago and did a recap of the Round Rock Classic. I know it's later in the week, but it had been so fast paced. We decided to drive out there to Round Rock, so about 9.5 hours there, 9.5 back, and it's been a whirlwind since I got back. So I finally got a chance to talk about it yesterday, and I wanted that to be like its own thing, even though this Alabama game had already happened. But just want to come on here and talk about the Alabama game specifically, because, man, it was a beatdown. Like, I expected the guys to come out and get the win. I fully expected a win at the Pete because, we've owned Alabama at the Pete over the last several years. I think I saw the last time Alabama won in baseball in Hattiesburg was in 2013. So, over a decade now, it's been domination for the Golden Eagles at the Pete when they play Alabama. So I fully expected the win. I did not expect to run rule the Tide. I wasn't expecting that. I thought that, with Justin LeBron, he's projected to be a top 5 MLB pick, shortstop, very good player. You got Bryce Fowler, who he's a former Golden Eagle senior this year. He's their leadoff guy, a very good outfielder. I don't know. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than when it was. I'm very happy to be wrong about that because it was awesome. But, just kind of starting off, it seemed like it was going to be one of those back and forth, high-paced type of games because Alabama got off to a 2-0 lead right off the bat, top of the first inning. I felt bad for, freshman right-handed pitcher Dylan Causey, South Jones product. He earned his first start of the season 2 weeks into the season. It didn't get off. He showed some good stuff in the top of that first inning, but things didn't get off to the start that he had hoped, mainly because there were some errors going on. There was an error where Seth Smith tried to throw the ball to Kyle Morrison at second base to turn a double play. after a leadoff single by Bryce Fowler, tried to get Fowler at second and then try to turn and have the double play on Justin LeBron on that first sequence there, and there was an error. It was a throwing error, or a catching error by Kyle Morrison. Both guys got on. There were no outs. That's what led to, Alabama taking that 2-0 lead in the top of the first. So, that was not the start he was looking for. But again, he showed some good stuff. He's got that fastball in the 92, 93 range from what I saw. And, he was able to get out of that inning without having any more damage than those 2 runs that were mainly a product of the infielding error that happened. So, hated that for him, but I don't think that'll be the only time he gets an opportunity later this season. So, as good as we've been in baseball to start this year, 7-1 now, haven't lost since opening day. As good as we've been, and I mentioned it on the last pod, there's still some growth that can happen there. I saw Coach Oz talked with D1 Baseball here recently in an article, and the term he put was there's still a lot of meat on the bone. And I agree with that. There's a lot of meat on the bone. As good as they've been, hitting-wise, bullpen-wise, the starting pitching can be better. The infielding could be better. Whether it's Seth Smith or Ty Long at shortstop, either one of those guys is going to have to grow into that role and become more comfortable since, they haven't started there until this year because, we had Ozzie Pratt there the last several years. So there's a lot of stuff that can still develop and advance as the season goes on to where this team could be even better than what they are now, which is crazy to say since the record is 7-1, but that's just where we are. Like, this team is not perfect. They're just finding different ways to win. And the talent is there. The depth is there. They just have to keep working and, not let these high rankings get to their head and, think, oh, well, we've got it in the bag. No, you got to, and I'm sure Coach Oz will keep them focused, but you can't let all that get to your head. It's great to be ranked number 12 in the nation. It's great to be 7-1 and, people talking about Omaha and all that. But at the end of the day, you got to just go out there and take it one game at a time and, see what happens. So, but anyway, Alabama got off to that 2-0 lead. We got one back in the bottom of the first inning to make it 2-1. And then Bruce Littleton happened in the top of the second inning. Freshman left-handed pitcher. He came in and man, was he nasty. He had that slider, like it starts on the top right side and sweeps all the way down into the top left side and sweeps down into the bottom right corner of the box. And man, he was insane in his first frame of the year, and only took him 12 pitches to get all 3 Alabama batters out. Three strikeouts, consecutive strikeouts on a total of 12 pitches for Bruce Littleton starting his Southern Miss career. So that was awesome to see. Look, I don't know if he's going to be like a starter by the end of this season, or he's just going to be more of a consistent bullpen guy to start out. But I am pretty certain that whatever the case is, we're going to see more of Bruce Littleton as the season goes on, because he was too good for us not to see more of him later on in this season. But anyway, Bruce Littleton, number 43, left-handed pitcher from Verstav. I'm probably botching this, but Vestavia Hills, Alabama. So he he took it to his home state team on Tuesday night at the Pete, and man, that was some crazy good stuff by him in the top of that second inning, and then that energy carried over to the bottom of the second inning because Ben Higdon got his first home run of the season, and it was a massive one with the bases juiced. He hit a bomb 400 feet to center field. And I mean, it was incredible to see him finally get his first homer of the year, and got his first hats off for Hig moment. You know, we talked with Carson Pato before the season started about Higdon taking his spot in right field that he had occupied for so long, and the new tradition that comes along with that. So it was great to see Higdon get that moment for the first time, and I'm sure he will carry over that momentum for the rest of the year. It was great to see him get his first one. So Alabama responded in the top of the fourth inning by getting a 2-run homer hit off the backboard. So, you know, that made it 5-4. And again, at that point, just like how I thought at the top of the first inning, it's like, okay, here we go. You know, it's going to be that back and forth kind of game, and you know, it's going to be a barn burner down to the ninth inning, and then in the bottom of the fourth, the bottom just fell out for Alabama because with the bases loaded, Bull came up, got a 2 RBI. I can't remember if it's a single or a double, but anyway, he got 2 runs in. I'm pretty sure it was a single, a 2 RBI single for Bull there in the bottom of the fourth inning. And then with the bases juiced again, Kyle Morrison, who, funny enough, I saw this from my guy Dima Mixon with Pine Belt News. He posted this on X after the game. But Kyle Morrison's bat didn't pass inspection before the game. So, you know, he had to search for for another bat that was, you know, similar weight, similar length to what he's used to using to get by for this game. He ended up using Ben Higdon's bat. And so with the bases loaded, he has Ben Higdon's bat. He comes up to the plate. He hits the ball so hard that his right knee touches the turf after he completed his swing. And it's just a rocket launch out to the right field roost. And second grand slam of the night, second grand slam in 4 innings for Southern Miss. And it was that just the bottom came out for Alabama. That gave the Golden Eagles a 12-2 lead, and Alabama did not score. I'm sorry, a 12-4 lead, and Alabama did not score the rest of the night at the P. They were held scoreless from the 5th inning through the 8th inning. And then we scored another one in the bottom of the 7th to make it 13-4. So then going to the bottom of the 8th, 1 run could walk it off because you can run rule them. And Lawson Odom came up to the plate and was able to reach off of an error. He hit the ball. It should have been out, but you know, there was a throwing error which allowed a run to score, and so you know, Lawson Odom got the walk-off experience with the they huddle up and rip off the jersey of the guy that walked it off and everything. So you know, that was great to see for a guy like Lawson Odom, who is a pro's pro. You know, he doesn't start, but he comes in there and he's a very good catcher, and he fills in for Tucker Stockman from time to time when he needs a little bit of a breather. It's a great 1-2 tandem to have at catcher for Southern Miss. So that was great to see for him. But yeah, look, that's the biggest stories from the Alabama game. Southern Miss winning 14-4, run rule in the Tide. It was complete and utter domination. It was put to bed early by the 2 grand slams, And then, like I said, there was just some great individual pitching performances given, that was done in some limited time, but it was great to see some stuff from Bruce Littleton. Let's see here. Kevin Landry Farr was awesome. Didn't give up any hits. Threw some nasty stuff while he was on the mound up there for one inning. Sundstrom came in there, and we know how Camden Sundstrom is. We know what he's going to give you. He's always going to be solid. He's never going to, if you have a lead and Camden Sundstrom is coming into the game, high chances are you're going to win that game. Like even if he gets some traffic on the bases, he can get out of it. We saw J.W. Armistead a little bit, Teague Broadhead, Josh Ock, all of those guys were great. So it was a good night. It was another pitch by committee kind of thing. And I mean, we saw a lot of that in that final game at Round Rock Classic when we played Baylor and won that last game. But it's really like for some of these midweek games, especially early in the season, I would expect to see more of, this kind of stuff where guys come in and only stay for one inning or so. And that was the case on Tuesday. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pitchers made an appearance for Southern Miss on Tuesday against Alabama. So, and Bruce Littleton ended up with the W on the night. So shout out to him. Again, he's going to be a guy. That guy is he's going to be good. So I'm very excited from what we saw from Bruce Littleton in that game and from the hitting. And, just looking at some of the stats from that, Davis Gillespie, he's still on a heater. Man, what a start for Davis Gillespie. He was 4 of 5 at the plate against Alabama. 2 RBIs. Had that massive home run over the weekend against Oregon State while being down 3-2 rather, and had a 2-run shot to give the Golden Eagles 4-3 lead that they didn't let go of from that point on. Gillespie's been great, and I've said it on previous pods, and I'll probably continue to say it for the foreseeable future as he continues to play well, but he's playing amazing baseball, and I love to see it because he seems like a great dude, and he seems very happy and appreciative of this moment that he has now in this season where he can turn things around. So that's very, very good to see from him. One other thing that I mentioned earlier, with Coach Oz said there's still meat on the bone, so to speak. And Russo is an example of that. Now, Russo is clutch. It doesn't matter what, he may be 0 for 4 some games. But if he gets up to the plate in a big spot with somebody on base, he's clutch. I mean, there's a high chance that he's going to come away with a big hit that helps Southern Miss get a run. But some of that, when the comment gets made that there's still meat on the bone, I feel like you can look at Russo for that being the case because he is going to eventually break out and hit the ball a little bit better than what he has been lately. Again, he's had some big shots. He's had some clutch hits, but he was only 1 for 5 at the plate against Alabama. And I feel like going forward, we're going to be seeing more from him specifically. You hope to see a little bit more from Caleb Stelly, who started off in the middle of the lineup, and then he was at the leadoff spot for a few games. Now against Alabama, he was the 9-hole hitter. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, there's so many guys that are playing well right now, but then there's other guys where it's like they're good, they're having their moments, but there's still some more consistency there that has yet to surface. And I fully believe it will. It's just a matter of time. But it was great. It was a great night to Pete. You know, there's nothing like that the train horn going off and the lights flickering and everybody, you know, losing their minds, especially over a grand slam. And then that happened twice in 4 innings. So it was great to see. Great atmosphere as always. And now, you know, the team's going to prepare for a tough road trip to Ruston to play Louisiana Tech, who is very good. They've only lost 1 game so far this year. And it'd be tough. I mean, I fully expect the guys to win. I'm thinking maybe 2-1 this weekend in Ruston, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be, you know, good rivalry series. There's already been a Louisiana Tech player kind of stirring the pot a little bit, saying that their head coach doesn't like Southern Miss very much and that they're hoping to sweep Southern Miss this weekend. So that's some bulletin board material for the guys as they head to Ruston this weekend. And then next Tuesday at the Pete, big one. Southern Miss versus Mississippi State. And look, with how many upsets there have been this week in college baseball, and depending on how those upset teams do this weekend, there's a lot of teams above Southern in the rankings who have lost. And so if Southern takes care of business this weekend and Mississippi State doesn't just have a horrible weekend, you know, win-loss wise, there's a very good chance that we could have a top 5 matchup between 2 Mississippi teams at the Pete next Tuesday. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the people in that determine the rankings see it. But all I know is that if Mississippi State and Southern Miss both handle business this weekend, that could be a possibility where it's 2 top 5 teams playing at the Pete in Hattiesburg Tuesday night, and it'll be a great scene. It's always a great atmosphere, always a great scene. But with those kind of stakes, those kind of rankings, that's going to be something you do not want to miss if you are a Southern Miss fan. So, guys, appreciate it. Thank you for joining me to talk about Southern Miss baseball yet again. Be sure to go to thetopmerch.myshopify.com and use our promo code NastyBunchPod to get 20% off your entire purchase. If you want some good Southern Miss baseball gear, football gear, basketball, you know, hats, they have some shirts, they have a little bit of everything. They have vintage, they have new style, whatever you can think of, they've probably got it. And if they don't have it, they'll probably have it in the future because they're always coming out with new stuff. But just like this hat right here I've got. This is a nice Southern Miss baseball cap. You can get it yourself, again, at tothetopmerch.myshopify.com and use our promo code NastyBunchPod to get 20% off. And again, be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Really helps us out, and we greatly appreciate it. But guys, y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and we will be back here probably Wednesday of next week to recap not only the Louisiana Tech series, but also what happens against Mississippi State on Tuesday night at the Pete. Y'all have a good one.